With the age of artificial intelligence has come the constant uncertainty of job security, and more importantly, the search for the jobs that are growing rather than slowly dissipating. The list of jobs on the rise is surprisingly long and quite varied, but perhaps the most publicly appealing field of work is in data science. The buzzword job title of data scientist is more popular than ever, and it's only getting bigger. And it's at this point that the general public begins to ask the question, how do you even become a data scientist? It's safe to say that one of the deciding factors in employment is an in-depth knowledge of particular programming languages. Python, unsurprisingly, still sits on the top of this list, and if you're not learning it, then you're already behind. There are countless easy-to-use resources for learning and properly implementing it. And even if you're not directly working with it, knowing such a universal language is always beneficial, especially going into the future. Apart from Python, the other language and common requirement looked for by employers is a knowledge of the programming language R, which, unlike Python, is quite the challenge to properly learn, let alone implement. But according to a survey at the start of December 2018, it is now the 16th most popular programming language, and only becoming more popular every day. This means it is a necessary challenge to learn and overcome if you're hoping to dive into the majority of rising statistical computing jobs. Apart from a knowledge of the various programming languages, the understanding of different software frameworks is also quite essential. The most popular at the moment being Apache's Hadoop and Spark. Both pieces of software are open source, with Hadoop being the older of the two pieces of software and thus having far more resources available online for learning. It's at this point that it's worth pointing out that learning either of these programs will be beneficial in the future, even if you're not directly involved in the world of data science. Another interesting aspect noticeable within this industry is the apparent need for a university education. The popular debate of whether dedicating several years of your life towards a higher education is worth it or not, in this case seems to lean towards the committing to study side of the debate. And statistically, this is quite clear in this industry. As of 2018, 88% of data scientists working professionally have completed a postgraduate master's degree. That's not to say that a master's degree is required or whether such higher education will be as prevalent in the future among employees, but for the time being, most employers seem to lean towards those who have proven themselves as capable in their respective university courses. This same way of thinking also applies to having a knowledge of mathematics. This is hotly debated due to the fact that most aspects involving mathematics are calculated within programming libraries, meaning from a technical perspective, being a maths genius isn't that important, but then again, you never know what will be thrown at you. It's unnecessary, but certainly better to be safe than sorry. This brings us to the final point, and perhaps the most important to consider. As is obvious in almost every field of work, artificial intelligence and machine learning are slowly but surely becoming more relevant for basically everyone. It's at this point that potential employers have begun leveraging the average data scientist, for lack of a better term, against someone not only knowledgeable in all of the aforementioned areas, but also proficient in machine learning techniques. Some of the skills include computer vision, unsupervised learning, survival analysis, and the list goes on. A survey conducted by Kaggle in 2017 revealed that only a small percentage of data scientists currently working in the industry professionally are capable of working with advanced machine learning techniques. And if you're hoping to break into this field, that's probably a good thing for you. The resources available to learn about the various machine learning skills is constantly expanding, and there's countless sites online to learn from. And while it may seem somewhat pointless to invest time in learning such things at this point, at the end of the day, the future of the industry will rely on people who are knowledgeable in these areas. And in many cases, it will become the deciding factor for employment in the near future. So get learning or get left behind.